What's going on, fellow members of the ALF? Yes, that's a set of Dragon Balls because one of our managers' wish has finally come true, getting his first victory. It's the commish Olive Juice 88 here to recap Week 5 for you guys. So we've got in our first game Melvin defeating me by 36 points, Brad defeating Eric by 49. Brian Carden defeating Matt Murphy by 48. Josh Jansen getting his first W of the year. Must have summoned old Purunga or Shenron, whichever Dragon Balls he was able to track down, and get his first W this week over Josh Russell by 45. And my brother Brian Smith defeating the old Pops by 15. So that was awfully close. It was a good effort, Dad. Keep trying. I believe in you. Anyway, on to the offensive and defensive MVPs, if I can learn how to talk right. We got coming off of Josh Jansen's team. It was his first W, so why not give the credit where the credit is due in Devontae Adams with 30 points and Fred Warner with 31 points, really showing out and carrying Crash Davis to victory this week for the first time this year. Unfortunately, he did lose Rashad Penny for the rest of the season with a broken tibia, which is probably what sparked a move that we will talk about here shortly. And then we've got Damian Harris with a hamstring injury that's probably going to keep him out a couple of weeks, and James Conner with a rib injury that is at least making him miss this week, and we'll see how it continues throughout the season, see how that goes. On to our Rookie of the Year candidates. We've got 3 guys on offense and 3 guys on defense I'm going to talk about. Chris Olave, wide receiver, with 83.9 points for Brian Carden, a.k.a. Hosscat. He has made 2 starts on the year. I am checking that so that I do give the credit where the credit is due in making the right decisions and, who's actually contributing to their teams in the win column. Brees Hall with 82.8 points. He's made 2 starts. And Dameon Pierce, 78.9 points, who really was the shock of the first round, going 4th overall. I believe I did turn and call Brad an idiot for taking him that early, but, it looks to have played out at least pretty solidly here lately. He's made what I think I said he made 3 starts, but anyway, he's made 3 starts since Brad traded Derrick Henry away, so it looks like maybe he found that replacement to fill that Yeti-sized hole in his lineup. And going on to defense, we've got really just one name to talk about. I'm going to bring up the other 2, but, they're still on the free agent block. So really it's just a one-man race right now with Devin Lloyd making 2 starts for Pops over there in Musflem or Muspelheim, if you want to say it correctly. I'm assuming that's how you say it correctly. That's how I would pronounce it by reading it, but other people say other things. But he's got 105 points on the year, making 2 starts over there. The other 2 are cornerbacks. I believe they both play for Houston. 91 points for Jalen Petrie and 82 points for Derek Stingley. They are both out on the free agent market, have been all year. They have not played a single snap for anybody in the ALF. Although they've played many a snaps in the real NFL, we don't care about that because this is fantasy football. We just care when they start and contribute to our teams. Anyway, let's move on to the big blockbuster trades that we've had this week. Let me flip my notebook over. Really big one. And which we saw a 10 for 3 swap. Who, I mean, I think we all know, at least feel like we know who won that trade for the long term anyway, and maybe even the short term if it will get him back in the race. Mr. Jansen, old Crash Davis over there, sent Taysom Hill after a pretty strong performance, 4 touchdown game for him. Debo Samuels and Romeo Dobbs, 4. And yes, I did take a little deep breath there because this is a lot. J.D. McKissick, who is but then you've got Josh Jacobs, who is really trying to show the Raiders they should have picked him up on that 5th-year option. Jalen Waddle, who is running mates with Mr. Crash Davis's other receiver, Tyreek Hill. Rashad Bateman, who is, if he can be healthy, the wide receiver 1 for Lamar Jackson. And Myles Garrett, who is, he's a defensive lineman, and those are really kind of like boom bust players a lot of the time. But he's good. He's good in real NFL, but we'll see how it plays out for fantasy purposes. And then we've got 5 draft picks in there too. 2023, all of them, 3rd, 4th, and 3 5th-round picks, which really equate to darts. And when you've got late round picks, you probably want as many darts as you can to throw and see if you actually strike the bullseye with any of them. So we'll see how it plays out. And then our other big trade of the week, we had Eric Bray send over Austin Eckler and Cortland Sutton. He said, "Get the heck out of here. Y'all making me lose games." I don't know what the thought process might have been, but it's not about, I don't feel like it's a bad trade at all. It's just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But Austin Eckler and Cortland Sutton going over to Mr. J. Russ for Saquon Barkley and Garrett Wilson. So, maybe it's just a youth move for Eric to get Saquon, and points now kind of move for J. Russ, as he probably hopes to get into contention this year, and sooner rather than later approach to his little rebuild that he was looking at. So anyway, we'll see how it all plays out for everybody, but I think there's a clear winner in the first trade, and it's probably beneficial for both sides in the other trade moving forward. So it is what it is. But I like it. I like to see some engaged fantasy owners and really just, taking their shots on who they believe in. So, good luck to y'all, and I hope that works out for you guys. And then closing out, we're just going to go over a few stats. I don't have the exact, totals for these. I just, wrote down the person it was because it's been a long week, lots of 12-hour days this week, and I don't know, I just forgot to do it. So it is what it is. With the most points scored on the year, we've got Melvin. He's sitting at 5-0, probably a big reason why. He's also got the fewest points scored against him, so he's having his best weeks. Everybody else, when they play him, is having their worst weeks. And that's a recipe for success. And we'll see how that plays out the rest of the season. The fewest points scored on the year is J. Russ. So maybe that's why he was looking to get Eckler and Sutton to really help bolster his point totals and victories. He's 2-3 on the year and looking to turn it around. And with the most points scored against is Pops. It just seems like he's caught a couple of bad breaks. He's had a couple good weeks himself, and it just seems like the person that he's played has had a better one, myself included. in there. And that 0-5 total. Keep trying. I believe in you. Keep it up. Anyway, moving on to some efficiency totals. We've got Brad setting the most efficient lineups for his team, and the least efficient lineups for his team is J. Russ. So Brad scoring points at I guess 87%. So if you take his points for and his maximum points for, that's 87%. And I mean, that's the highest in the league. That's really high. Nobody else has over 84%. And there's only half of us are over 80 in general. Everybody else is under 70. The lowest being J. Russ at 2-3 and 72% on his efficiency metric. And then we just got some milestones that people are looking to break and see if they can take over these. Well, a couple of these you want to have, and a couple of these you probably don't want to have. We've got the longest win streak is sitting at 9 by Matt Murphy. That is also the best start for anybody in the league on a season. 9-0 start. It did not lead to a championship though. And then, excuse me. And then with the longest losing streak, we had my brother Brian with 5, and that was somewhere in the middle of last season. And the worst start is now Pops at 0-5, who he took that moniker from Mr. Eric Bray, who started last year 0-4. And so, like I said, you probably don't want to take that stat over, but it's a little late. So hopefully you can avoid taking over that full-fledged longest losing streak record too, and it'll just be a tie between old Musflim Fire Giants and Team Lethal Kindness. But we'll see what happens. And then obviously the best start, longest win streak, those are two that you want to have. So Melvin is really trying to track them down. But if he doesn't get the title out of it, I'm sure he's not really going to care. So we'll see how it all plays out, guys. Week 6 is upon us. We had another crappy Thursday night game, and we'll see how the slate plays out tomorrow. Good luck to everybody, and I'll see y'all next week.